Insert classical music. Okay. Hi, welcome to the dungeon. Actually, it's my basement, and this is what you're going to be seeing for the next few months because this is going to be part of a video series. Very fun. A lot of effort, but a lot of fun. You're part of this ride, though. So, have fun. Enjoy yourself. And if you like this, comment any suggestions you have because, yeah, I'm an awkward person. I don't really know what I'm doing. Anyways, hello. Welcome to PaleoIndians with Mira, and I'm Mira, which I've already covered, but whatever. It's fine. Everything is fine. Anyways, today I'll be speaking about how much I need a coffee and hot chocolate because it's really cold outside. But actually, I'm going to be talking about PaleoIndians in the Ice Age period, which may or may not be as entertaining. But funny enough, it's really cold outside, and we're talking about the Ice Age. So, let's get started. This is why I have 2 shots of sparkling water. Anyways, to start with the basic details, the Ice Age was a period of extreme cooling, meaning it was really cold. The world was covered in ice, which is implied in the name, and there was resource scarcity, meaning that it was difficult to find adequate food and shelter in a multitude of places. Basically, it was like Frozen, where Arendelle was covered in ice, and nobody could really get anywhere through boat or anything, so we kind of had to walk across the ice or use horses, but that doesn't really apply to Ice Age that much. Actually, a better comparison would be the movie series Ice Age. Those are good movies, and the squirrel's my favorite. Is it a squirrel? It might be a squirrel. I think it is a squirrel. Anyways, at the same time of the Ice Age, there was something called the Bering Strait Land Bridge. I had to look at my scripts because I always forget the name of it because it's a mouthful, to be completely honest. And the land bridge was giant. It was theorized that many people came over this bridge. And as time went on, the bridge got covered in water due to melting ice, which made it impossible to cross over the piece of land. By the way, the reason why there was melting ice is because we were heading into a warming period, which kind of how the world works. Like things like cool and warm, cool and warm, cool and warm. It's kind of like a cycle. So, anyways, many people have been said to come over from that bridge to North America, but the origin of these people are theorized to either be of Siberian descent or Mongolian descent, but this is a really heavily debated topic due to the fact that genetic testing is limited. The more accepted theory is Siberian because it makes more sense looking at the location versus where the land bridge was. So, anyways, the real debate, however, is the lack of knowledge of when people actually came to North America in the first place. There's quite a few sites in South America that suggest a lot earlier, but I won't really get into those too much because they don't have much to do with North American Paleo-Indians, but I'll talk about it in the next few videos because I think it's still an interesting bit of information, and if you live in South America, it's always good to know kind of like the archaeology of your own area. So, anyways, at first it's evident that people came around 13,000 years ago, which is around the same time as the Bering Land Bridge. However, at the same time, a really interesting artifact has been found in California, because California has a different breed, so is Florida, but both are places here in the US, so gotta talk about them. In California, there was a site that had about a 1,000... I always forget names of words, numbers, things are happening in my brain right now. Anyways, 130,000 years ago, there was a mastodon bone, and mastodons are an animal that are now extinct, and the issue here is that humans weren't said to be out of Africa until 60,000 to 90,000 years ago, so that leaves a really big time gap. And so the fact that archaeologists are even suggesting that somebody of like a humanoid kind of did this, and puts every theory about humans at risk. Also, after further research, I did find that they're saying it was a Neanderthal, but I mean, still mind blowing. It really is mind blowing. And it has a lot to do with the fact that, I mean, everything about people in general is heavily theorized, and there's a lot of evidence that hasn't been found yet. So, you know, anyways, the debate is really complicated, so it's up to viewers to decide what they believe. But for the purpose of the video, I'm sticking to the Bering Strait theory just because simplicity, and that's what's taught in schools. So, you know, I don't need to kill anybody's brain during this process because it's complicated. It's really complicated. Just to clear up any confusion, by the way, the word I mentioned earlier, archaeology, means the study of the past, not past, using artifacts. This is useful because it's important to know the history of humans and sites like the one in California. Like, where did it come from? Why are we here? You know, what does this mean? Also, to make it more simple for anyone who still doesn't really understand, think of like ancient Greece and ancient Rome, like the Colosseums and big artifacts like that. Those are technically archaeology sites, and that's where they can find artifacts of smaller size or big size, like big pillars. We can learn more about their cultures and what they did as, you know, as a culture and society, and what they ate, what did they do as activities. Did they play video games? They probably didn't, because computers were not existing at that time at all. They even use it in Egypt, you know, like they look at the pyramids and like, why are they this shape? What do they contain? Things like that. So, hopefully that clears any more confusion up. For more context about PaleoIndians, however, because you're going to need this information in the next few videos, PaleoIndians are the first people to make it to North America. The ones I'm focusing on resided in Connecticut, which is the United States of America, and it's close to Massachusetts, which contains Boston, and New York, which contains New York City. So if you're having a little bit of trouble finding it on a map, it's closer to those two states, and those are the more well-known states, in my opinion. But, you know, anyways, the Connecticut PaleoIndians are theorized to have lived here around 13,000 to 12,500 years ago, which is a really long time ago. And there's two sites in particular that I will be mentioning more intensively than anything else, because they're the only two sites I really know about in Connecticut, unless there's some that were being hidden or for some reason. The two sites I'll be mentioning in the videos are Brian D. Jones' site of Avon and the Templeton site of Washington. They're both really interesting sites, and they have a lot of great artifacts that I can talk about and kind of lay out the details about who the PaleoIndians were. A few other things I want to briefly talk about that don't really have as much to do with the video, but I just want to briefly mention them because, you know, why not? Is the PaleoIndians are who modern-day archaeologists and anthropologists call the people who came over to North America during and near the end of the Ice Age. The debate over where they came from is highly prevalent, considering some people believe they came over from Siberia, while others believe they came over from Mongolia. Some people even suggest that they came from Eastern Asia and Western Alaska. So, you know, there's a lot of debates that happen, and honestly, I mean, those are all in the same areas, basically, so I don't really know why I mentioned that, but, you know, I have it on my script, so I gotta mention it. But kind of redundant. Anyways, there has been a really interesting thing that I think everyone should go look up. It's the Spirit Cave in Nevada, which has traced back roots to modern day Native Americans, and it's very interesting. I personally was like, wow, that's really cool. And it does line up with the 13,000 years ago time period for PaleoIndians, so I would definitely recommend looking it up. It's really interesting. Though I will have to say, when it comes to where they came, the debate to where they come from, and this is just what I'm going to mention really briefly, because I don't think it's not as important. The debate where they came from isn't as prevalent as the debate of when they came here. I feel like I've seen more archaeologists debate when they came here than where they came from, because I think it's more generally accepted that they were from, you know, Western Alaska to Eastern Asia. Yeah, that's basically all I really wanted to talk about. But, you know, I think that if you have any comments, and this is just for general viewers, like if you have any comments about what I could include and how I can make my videos better, this is my first YouTube video. So there's not much I really know about how to do a video, which I'm sure is pretty obvious at this point. But I hope that this was useful. And this is the end of archaeology and PaleoIndians with Mira. And I hope you come again for the rest of these videos, because this will be a wild ride of a roller coaster. So, how do you end a YouTube video? I really need to watch YouTube. You know what? For homework for myself, watch other YouTube videos and get inspiration. I'm sorry I put you through this. Goodbye.